Piece of shit! Oh my god! What the you stupid son of a bitch! You stupid son of a bitch! Oh my god!
Halo TV series, and we've been seeing a little bit of this coming out. Paramount Plus is carrying this, but we already know that this is going to be a shit show. And even, and I saw someone in the comments line that said, this was, not in the comment, I'm sorry, this was on Twitter. And they said, well, you haven't watched it yet. Why are you commenting and you haven't watched it yet? Well, there's a good reason for that. We haven't been wrong. We haven't been wrong yet on a lot of the shows that we've criticized. We've talked about Cowboy Bebop. We've talked about Star Trek, Discovery, Picard. All these series, Doctor Who. We talked about all these series and we said, listen, this is going to be garbage. Look at the way it's written. Look at the way it looks. We don't even have to go in 5 minutes. The word of the mouth, the word of the actors, the directors, the producers of what they're saying to the media, you could tell it's already a shit show. The words to look for: made for the modern era. Diversity hires. And I still hark up on this. When you hire somebody, you're not hiring them for the color of their skin. That would violate every rule in every state and the Fed rule on hiring practice, on employment practices. You can't judge someone by their race, creed, color, sexuality, and gender, handicap. You can't judge them by that. You got to judge them by their abilities. You hire people to work for you, for their abilities. This is why you had so many problems out there that you hear when you have these accidents or something goes wrong on a movie set and stuff like that. And it's because people don't take the time, because they said, well, we got to be diverse. We have to be this way. You can be diverse, but you don't have to do it the way you're doing it. And we brought up this little paperwork before, the sheet that's being passed around the writers' rooms, telling them what is good and what is bad to write. Hays Code 2.0. I keep saying this. I keep harking it. And I'm surprised no one else has picked up on this yet. But it's the truth. Go back and look at history. What they were trying to do with the Hays Code is exactly inclusion and equity is the same thing what they're doing today. The subject matters have changed, but the way they're going around it is the same. It's the same nature of the beast. And the other half of the situation is a lot of these productions, a lot of these shows, we've heard these situations before, that, like in WandaVision, one of the writers was like, well, I've never read the comics. I've never read on certain characters. I don't know what these characters are like. Well, then why are you writing about them? You don't take the moment to spend time and look and read the material that you're doing. This is why Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings was very successful, because he knew of the stories. He's read them. The people who helped write them read it as well. They knew what Lord of the Rings was. Unlike the ones that are doing this shit show right now, which doesn't have the rights to any of the stories that they're going to be talking about. If you're expecting the Silmarillion and some of the other stories that, because this is dealing in the past, you are wrong. That's not what you're going to get. You're going to get somebody's dime snore knockoff of a show. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's like the dollar store version of Duracell batteries, and it doesn't spell Duracell, or the Crest toothpaste and it doesn't spell Crest correctly. That's what it is. And what we found out this past week, the Halo series is not so dissimilar to what is going on as far as understanding what Halo is. Because we found out that the showrunner, and this is a great little article from Spencer on Bounding Into Comics, Halo showrunner Stephen King says writing team didn't look at or talked about the game. We talked about the characters and the world. The appendix, again, the appendix. Or as I say, 60 words. Isaac Asimov said 60 words he would only be remembered for. If you don't remember that situation, I met Isaac Asimov back in the 80s in an interview I worked on, and he mentioned this is what it would be. His legacy, all the stories that he has written throughout the years, he will only be remembered for the law of robotics. It's a shame, because he's had so many good. Look what they did to Foundation. Look literally what they did to Foundation, and there's another season coming of it. It's a shame. But let's read a little bit of what Spencer wrote into this. The red flags continue to fly for Paramount Plus for the upcoming Halo series. In a recent interview, showrunner Stephen King has revealed that despite penning over 265 drafts of live-action adaptation, he and the writing team did not look or talk about the original game's incapacity. King revealed that the Halo's writers' room proud ignorance of Master Chief's original video game outings during a recent interview with Variety, given alongside various members of the production team in promotion of the series' upcoming premiere. Speaking with the Train outlet, he asserted, we didn't look at the game, we didn't talk about the game, we talked about the characters and the world, so I never felt limited by it being a game. Turning to the topic of Master Chief himself, the showrunner asserted, he's everyone's right. He's you, he's me, he's a 6-year-old girl, he's a 15-year-old person in different country. Whoever plays the game is him. We're going to tell a story about a man discovering his own humanity, he explained. In so doing, he's invited the audience to discover the guy's humanity too. Recalling that he wrote upward 265 drafts of the series, first 9 episodes of 10 total of comprised Halo first season, Kane shared his excitement at the chance to put his own stamp on the Bungie created universe. There are characters that are mentioned once in a book that I was able to give a whole backstory to, and other characters that were already well written that I had to just drop in. He said, I have to give credit to Microsoft. You could pitch them some brand new and unless really complicated them in terms of the canon or the values they show, they embraced it. This decision to split the story from Halo video games was further touched upon 343 Industries head of Halo Transmedia, Kiki Wolfkill, who told Variety early on, we were thinking about doing something that we could tie very closely with the game. What we were finding, we were trying in verbatim to stay with everything that has come before, wasn't serving the medium. Unbelievable. It also wasn't serving the creative teams and their needs to express a story and build the world through their eyes, she elaborated. Speaking to the series' future, Wolfkill also teased that deep exploring the Spartans' personal life may be something that'll come in season 2 or season 3. You know, we can go on and on this article, and I would say go out and check out this article, and it is a total joke. And I'll bring this up again, on there. In '98, Lair of the White Worm. If you're familiar with that Ken Russell film, Ken Russell, who happens to be a good director and writer, but the thing about it is, it was adapted from a book written by Bram Stoker, the man who created Dracula. But see, the thing is, Ken didn't like the book. He thought the book was horrible. I understand that. I can understand if you don't like the book, plain and simple. But what he did was, he just took the characters, some of them, and created a different story and slapped on Lair the White Worm. See, this is what we got here too. This is exactly what we have here. We have the same exact situation where a showrunner is not using the characters, but not using any of the true story, the backstory of the Halo universe. You know, when you look at the Resident Evil, at least they tried. They tried to put on the back on the universe. The Dragon Ball movie, how horrible it was. You could see the same situations with that as well. That they took the characters and dropped them into a different story. And completely what? Because they made it for US audiences. How do you know what we like? How do you know what we want? Because you're not looking at what we want. You're not looking at the stories themselves, the games. You know, when you do a story, you need to read the novels that if you're adapting it from novels. I just watched the Dune movie recently. I couldn't get past an hour of it. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, it's nice. The cinematography is nice. The music is a little the same. Song says the same, but it's not Frank Herbert's Dune. It's plain and simple. It's not Frank Herbert's Dune, and it will never be Frank Herbert's Dune. Because they don't really understand the material. Now, understand, Frank Herbert's Dune is one of the most difficult, I think, novels to adapt to a screen. And this is its third try. See, what they did was, with this Dune, they made it into a blockbuster. And that's what it is. It's a blockbuster. It's not the story, the novelization. And they need to stop this. They need to stop this. Right now, you have another company, A24, out there. They're making low-budget films. Not the greatest in the world, but they're doing their job. They have a movie coming out, X, which just got released. Horror film, and it's taken from a different perspective. But they're doing it as a trilogy. So there's a prequel and a sequel coming along, too. Because and for those of you who are interested in going to see X, stay to the end of the credits, because you'll see the next segment of the next movie, because supposedly the next movie is completed. But this is some of the things that they're doing on. Look at the catalog on A24. Like I said, not all the greatest films in the world, but they're trying their best. They're trying their best. They could be better, but then I would have to say they are a 2022 version of New Line Cinema. Back when New Line Cinema was in its early heyday. What's going to happen in the next 10 years on A24? If they survive this whole situation, they could end up to be a really good production house. And there are other productions out there that are making movies. The Daily Wire is making movies. Some of them are decent. Some of them are okay. But it's early on for them. And there are a lot of others that are doing this. This is why I tell you, for those of you out there, those of you watching here on Odyssey, understand this. If you want to get into the business, here's a simple thought. The simple reasoning. Do it yourself. Fuck Hollywood. Don't sell it to Hollywood or anything like that. You could do it yourself. If you make a good small segment, it's just like the Darth Vader movie, that mini movie about Darth Vader that was done on YouTube. How really well done that is. If someone could do that in just a couple of minutes, imagine what you can do in a 90-minute movie. All you gotta do is do a small promotion, throw it on Kickstarter. Well, no, don't throw it on Kickstarter. Indiegogo better. Go to crowdfunding. Crowdfund the movie yourself. You can crowdfund it to your best, and you could sell it to the theaters. Theaters will buy these out. Drive-ins will buy these out, and you'll make some sort of money, maybe to your next production, and then you'll be able to increase the level of the quality of your films. There are guys doing that right now. They're hiring theaters to show their movies. There are small theaters out there that will do it. We'll work with you. Because Hollywood is not helping. You have to understand, they did this in the 70s. Do you think that basically a lot of these black exploitation films were able to be shown in every movie theater across country? No, not at all. Not at all, because a lot of them were controversial. And not because of that it was a black exploitation film, it is because of the content of the movie itself. Because there were other action films of many variations that were, perfect example, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was banned from many theaters. Putting money into your art, it's your work, it's your art. If you get to keep everything 100%, you may come across an investor that'll say, I want to invest in your company and build it up to make movies. You could become the next MGM. You could become the next Paramount if you work hard enough to do it. Today, the ability to do this is much stronger than years ago because of technology. You have the chance to make good content for those of you out there, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TV series, whether it's a blog like this talking to you, the viewers, a video game, a comic book. Look at it. You just had a guy just now recently, a writer, just got close to $30 million. $30 million to fund 4 books. In crowdfunded. $30 million. Now, I'm not saying that you'll get $30 million, but hey, listen, if you can get a couple $1,000s out of the whole situation, you'll be able to move on and do what you want.